I realized quickly when I knew I should that this world is made up of this brotherhood of man. For whatever that means. Everybody ready? But then I try sometimes and I'm lying there just to get what's in my head. A little peculiar.
Aloha Kako, Mike here again for Kia'i Conversations, and today I have another Kia'i with us. Everybody knows him, so why don't you introduce yourself for everybody that don't know you, where you from, and what you do for a living.
Aloha mai kako lahui Hawaii o Kaukaohu Wahilani no pu'ea mai au. That is Hawaiian Valley, and yes, he Hawaii au. Aloha aina o i'io.
So, for most people that know you, I guess as of recent, is more for the wind turbine campaign in Kalaeloa that was happening. So you want to give us like a quick summary of what that was, what we're fighting, and all that kind of stuff?
Sure. For me, growing up as a kanaka, and I was born in 1966, so that puts me at 53 right now. But in my generation growing up, I felt the word prejudice. I felt the word prejudice, and was towards me as a little kid, my ili, the skin, my color, and wasn't more or less from Haole people, was actually from local Kipanese. But I always had that inside of me, that tugging in my na'au, and not knowing that 30 years later I would be emancipated with the truth that there was no treaty of annexation, and through international law and U.S. constitutional law, country can only occupy another country with a treaty of annexation, not without a treaty of annexation. So I've done my research and I've awoken. So from that day on, it's like He Hawaii, Aloha aina, and everything that I can do to perpetuate, to ho'omau, and to kia'i, to guard, and to stand up to kupa'a, against everything that we as kanaka are faced with, economically, socially, spiritually, physically, everything, that we're on the bottom end, and it's time for that, to change that narrative. So
that's what brought about, fighting the turbines and everything.
Yeah, so with fighting the turbines, that was a great opportunity. A good friend of mine, Mike Commit, we worked together in the roofing industry, and he had contacted me in September when we were up on the Mauna, and he asked me, brother, can you help us? Because the AES, the industrial wind turbines, are coming from Kalaeloa, which is part of Yomoku, and that we live out in Kahuku. It's a far drive, so would you be able to kind of help and hold space down at Kalaeloa? And I was like, yes, I'll be there, And so that was my journey, and I brought on some of my good friends from Hawaiian as well, and we went down. And when it first started, for me, like many others, I was thinking, industrial wind turbines, that's a clean industry. But going through the process of 38 nights on Kalaeloa, and you've been there multiple times too, Mike, and then start doing my research on the industrial wind turbine industry, and it ain't so green and it ain't so clean, so yeah.
So that answer I was going to ask you next, how you got involved. So it was Mike Commit that called you up, because that was your moku over there, and since that's where all the parts are living case. So I understand. Okay, I get that now. That's why you got involved. Perfect. Great done. So what do you think was the biggest challenge of that campaign, and what do you think makes it different from what's happening on Mauna Kea?
I think that's a great question, Mike. The biggest challenge for me, I'm thinking with that question, being on the Alanui Kalaeloa, those 38 nights, the biggest challenge for me was seeing the turbines going past every night, and knowing that, and try to bridge the gap with Kia'i as well as with HPD. But I've made it clear with HPD that AES cannot move without HPD being there. Although they claim that they're there for the safety purposes, but when the convoy left, we were still there. HPD left too, you know, and we knew it, you know. They had a job for do. We also had a job for do. But the biggest challenge was seeing the turbines leaving every night. Although we have tried our best to hold them, you know, and you know, that was like the biggest challenge.
I think that was the biggest challenge for everybody over there, even myself. Like being even behind the camera most of the time, it's hard watching people get arrested, watching the turbines leave. Like the camera can be like a proxy sometimes that I can hide behind, but I still feel it, you know what I mean? Especially, I feel like I'm even focusing behind a camera, I'm focusing in on somebody and I can really feel their emotion and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, it was very taxing. It was very taxing spiritually, physically, emotionally, and that goes for being up on the mountain too. You know, I've been up there since 2015 too, you know, June 24th, 2015, you know, and we get those post-traumatic, you know, syndromes after, you know, and being up in 2017 with kalaeloa and Hawai'i, and, you know, having them getting arrested and we're facing our brothers and sisters in blue, in HPD, and, you know, but the thing was, after all of these things, we get the same looks on our face, like that post-traumatic, you know, look, like, man, you know, and you could see it on the police, you could see it on their faces too. You know, but people, we need to rise and just, you know, with Aloha, but be fearless. You know, be fearless, because if we're doing things with pono intentions, it's only a matter of time that those that are not being pono, they're gonna be exposed. You know?
I think it's interesting when you talk about post-traumatic stuff with HPD. It makes me think about, because how they show up in force in Kalaeloa when they show up there. So the last Kiai convoy we had, I don't know if you were there, but we started a Kamakana. We actually had the police come and block off the intersection so we could leave Kamakana. But when they came, they showed up in force. We had a whole bunch of solo bikes, and we know they're there to help us and block up the intersection. But when I saw them show up like that, again, I get that feeling like how they show up in Kalaeloa, like that,
excessive
like that
force.
Bad feeling, like are you to help us, or you know what I mean? Like so I can kind of compare like that post-traumatic stress.
And I believe that's like for both sides to see, you know, we're here to help, but we're also here to show force if you folks, you know, step out of hand, you know. For me, I would explain to the lahui at night, you know, like every night 250 plus cops come, HPD, they come, you know, but you know, but the one thing that was keeping us, that would try to keep us, you know, is the being in Kapu Aloha and showing that. But in the same sense, you know, we're not going to be just pushovers and rollovers. We're going to stand our ground and, you know, let them know, and we can talk and engage civilly, you know, and without being so confrontational, but in the same time sending the messages out that, hey, we are here to stay and this is a new day, you know. And what was the beauty part about being at Kalaeloa was, I would share with HPD, when have you ever seen in recent times Hawaiian helping out Kahuku? You know, so if you know, you folks all know, you know, I would share that narrative with HPD, and they're hearing, because I was sharing, man, we grew up Hawaiian and Nanakuli, we fighting each other. Hawaiian Kahuku, we fighting, and you know, Hawaiian Farrington or Kahuku Farrington, you know, everybody, you know that, right, Mike? Everybody fighting with each other. But the beauty part was to change the mentality of our lahui, to say that we are no longer constricted to the divisions, to Ahupua'a, because we are vested in Hawaii. We are from here. We ain't going anywhere. And when these private corporations that are done and they made their profits and then they leave, we get held with the opala and all the byproducts of that. So that was the beauty part of it for me, was you know, it's no Ahupua's don't divide us anymore.
Great, yeah. We're you at a united front now, which is probably the most beautiful thing out of the whole movement. You know, everyone would probably credit Mauna Kea, you know, for bringing us together. So, you know, without that, we probably wouldn't be where we are right now. So, thank you for arresting our kupuna, which is probably what it was, you know. So, what do you think was the biggest obstacle that we did overcome in the campaign in Kalaeloa? What were we able to do that we came out, we're like, okay, we did this, that you're proud of? Unity, and seeing the dynamics and how
from the top level, from the mayor down to higher ups in HPD, down to the sergeants, and also for us as our lahui, as kia'i, because every night at kalaeloa it was a different, we had to change, evolve, to send the messages out there. So to me that was like that was a great thing for us, and it was a great learning experience because there's another wind farm, the Palihua wind farms, and that's on our moku.
Oh, right.
And that's in the works as well. So it was like a training ground for us from Wai'anae. So we had to sacrifice some of the strategies that we have done for Kahuku, because if Palihua comes up, we can't use those strategies anymore. However, I recognize the significance of, Kahuku is live now, not Palihua. So we actually gave up, we actually had sacrificed some of the things that we'd like to use with Palihua. But everything that we have done wanted to say it's all in non-violent direct action. No violence here.
So what did you personally learn from that whole campaign at the end? For yourself?
I personally learned that the human spirit is, the kanaka spirit in this case is very resilient, always fluid, aloha, and that the generational trauma and hurt is still there and it's still relevant in our people, and especially for kanaka that are not really emancipated mentally yet, but for me, I'll take that with me.
So when we think about the movement as a whole, including everything, how would you characterize it? If you had to give it a name, or
Aloha aina wa'io, and righteous works, and like Brother Mikey said, Ku'umaunawa has reawoken us once again from 2015 to now, and it has truly inspired this next generation of kia'i. But I would say we have sayings, nana ikikumu, look to the source, makavalu, to look at things from 8 perspectives, and do your due diligence. Do not just go by hearsay. Even if you hear hearsay, go and do research on that. And if you do a research, do your due diligence by multiple sources, so that you can come up with a better understanding and your better answer. And then when it falls on you, then that kuleana falls on you, then as a kanaka, what are you going to do? So prime example for me, reclamation of kanaka identity. My first name is Eric, but I don't use that name anymore, because reclamation of my kanaka identity. My Hawaiian name is Kaukaohu Wahilani, and I've shared this story, but I want to share it again. My mom, God rest her soul, she was an educator. She taught Hawaiian language and Hawaiian studies at UH Manoa in the mid-70s. I believe was the very first Hawaiian language classes and studies at UH Manoa in the mid-70s. And my mom was anti-haole, but my first name is Eric. So when I was a kid at second grade, I remember telling my mom, you teach Hawaiian language and Hawaiian studies at the highest level at UH Manoa. We anti-haole, but she wasn't racist or anything. She just was anti-haole. But my first name is Eric, and the rest of my ino is Kanaka. And then I would ask her why, and then she said, well, I like Eric the Red. And I told my mother, Ma, he's a freaking Viking. And he haole, but
the biggest haole.
Yeah, but the irony was at second grade, I knew who Eric the Red was. He was an actual person. He was a Viking. The irony was I knew who he was, but I had no idea who was Charles and Emma Navahi, who was Manono, who was Kaui Keoli, who was Willie Koki. You know what? Kamanava, I did not know none of those, So that was the irony for me. So when I have awoken, we are part of being awoken. Eric had his season. So everybody in the Lahui, they know me as Kaukaohu because my mom and my oldest brother always used to call me Kaukaohu. So that keeps me in my perspective as a Alohaina, and it keeps me grounded.
So I guess to expand on that, I guess I'll share a little bit of story of mine. So my first name is Michael. My middle name is Lokela. Lokela is Larry. That's my dad's first name. So he chose to give us our Hawaiian name in the middle because he had a lot of acts of racism and prejudice acted on him as he was growing up. So he was afraid of that happening to us, his children. So he wanted us to have English first names. Yeah. So because he was afraid of those things happening to us. So that's part of the whole indoctrination and for my dad's generation, seeing all that, and so and that's how it just keeps going on for us, his children, that's even indoctrinating us for that fear, so that's just to expand on your story, a little bit on how, it's kind of funny, like how all that works, and it just keeps passing down. So I like how you say Eric had his season, and now, you kind of get rid of that name, so that's a good way to keep moving forward,
and reclamation of Kanaka identity. So with that, the kuleana comes behind that, and what, you awamo that kuleana. So now I think differently, and I see things differently.
Good, So this was a big one through the kalaeloa campaign. So what does Kapu'oloha mean to you?
Kapu'oloha to me is doing the things that you normally wouldn't do if you weren't in Kapu'oloha. So for me, example, like at a prime example, a couple years ago, my neighbor, we grew up together as my mom's classmate, and I reversed my truck out, and I actually hit her car, and nobody was around. Nobody was around. On backup and on dent her car, and nobody was around. And for a minute, I thought about not saying nothing, because nobody saw, but somebody did see, and it was my kupuna, and so it was, for me, it was like, I gotta tell my neighbor, and I did. And for me, that was like Kapu'oloha on myself, because and calling myself as a kanaka, and identifying that kuleana, that responsibility that comes with it. So with the Kapu'oloha, for me, is like, it's a reminder and holding me in the things. But there are times that you're not going to be using Kapu'oloha, and that's the times that, but mostly, like how Auntie Pua case says, sacred place, sacred conduct, And Kapu'oloha to me is the key, the glue that keeps Mauna Awakea safe right now with our people, and as well as us on kalaeloa, because I have shared every night at kalaeloa that safety was paramount for us, and we cannot be safe. We can't be safe. We're all angry and being there. So Kapu'oloha for me is checking myself at times that I don't want to be in aloha for things, and that's Kapu'oloha for me.
So what do you think is the biggest challenge facing the Hawaiian people right now?
Misinformation and people that are not well informed and doing their due diligence, and I'm talking for myself as well, so that would be my.
So do you think the government cares about the Hawaiian people
in the way that we would like them to care for us? No.
Why do you think that is?
Because it's evident on how they continue to treat us, how they continue to not listen to us, how they continue to show that we don't matter, and in their actions.
So if there's any one issue you could solve today, what would it be for the Hawaiian people?
If there's any issue?
I know there's so many out there, but like, maybe if you got one at the top of your list, like, what do you think it would be?
Laws of occupation. As Dr. Kianusa has been putting it out there, the laws of occupation. So we are not colonized, we are occupied.
So does that mean sovereignty then?
Well,
like
sovereignty,
seeing the kingdom restored?
yeah,
Is that what you would say?
to my understanding, sovereignty never left.
Oh, okay, right, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Sovereignty never left, but for us to be sovereign of everything which is ours, which is this country, the Hawaiian Kingdom. And I want to state the Hawaiian Kingdom, we come from a people from our kupuna that has been always inclusive, not exclusive. Great example of that is in the late 1700s to the late 1800s, the U.S. continent was being connected by the Pacific Railroad, and majority of their labor forces was people of African ancestry or Japanese or Chinese or non-European ancestries, and a lot of them were slaves. So if that slave ever found themselves, and that's a bad word to use, but if that person who happened to be a slave found themselves on a steamship headed to the Hawaiian Kingdom, as soon as that person touched his foot on the grounds of the Hawaiian Kingdom, that person automatically became free, and that person could also own their own business. However, that person could not vote in the affairs of the kingdom until that person became naturalized, which meant that person had to swear allegiance to the Hawaiian Kingdom. So we come from that, to that inclusiveness. I'm not saying that the Hawaiian Kingdom was the most perfect, but you know, we're progressive for our time.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot of stuff people don't know
Yeah.
what had going on in the Hawaiian Kingdom. Everyone's like, oh, the U.S. is better, and it's like you don't
Right.
know what the Hawaiian Kingdom had going on with the Constitution and all that kind of
Yes.
stuff. So a lot of people are very misinformed, I think,
Yes.
on that side. You know, when
Yes.
they try to make that argument. So as far as being misunderstood, what do you think is the most misunderstood part of this movement? Like someone say a protein tea person, or anyone on the outside. What do you think? How do you think they mischaracterize Kia'i and the movement?
yeah, they keep, to me, my manao, they keep mislabeling us as protesters, as bullies, as well as ill-informed or uneducated kanaka. But we all know Lahui, that's totally false, you know.
So what would you say to someone that that is on the outside that doesn't agree with it and stuff, not on the fence about the movement? If I was, what would you have to say?
I would say, come sit down. We can agree to disagree, but this is the facts that I have. I see your facts, and hey, at the day we can still engage with each other civilly, in a civil manner, and that's what I would say. But I pretty much would say, hey, the facts that I got so far, it hasn't been challenged.
I don't think so either. Yeah. So as a Kia'i yourself, what do you think is the best way for someone to contribute to the movement? Like I've had people say, like saying you said, be present, so you can be there. People might say something like donate money, perform protocol every day. But for you, what do you think is one of the best ways to contribute?
To me, the best way to contribute is first knowing who you are as a kanaka, and that would be to do your mo'oku'auhau, to do your genealogy. And then from there to get reconnected to your kupuna and to start doing your research on the things that you grew up and listening to this narrative, from this Western narrative, and just finding out who you are first as a kanaka and finding out what your kupuna did. For me in 1896, when the provisional government, to me, they did the greatest divisive thing they could have done was to ban our language in public and in business. And by doing that, you guys know what happened. My father was beaten for speaking, so he never even spoke pure Hawaiian, and so for me that was the most divisive thing. However, today, our language is still here, and we are still here. We are products of our kupuna, and one day we're gonna be gone and we're gonna be kupuna. And so my good friend Cody Coco from Maui, he said, what kupuna would you want to be remembered as? Kaukaohu. So, yeah.
That's a good way to think about it, yeah. How would you want to be remembered and stuff like that. But that's about all I got. The only last thing is you want to address everybody and that, just give everyone your thought. Anything you want to say to the Lahui that's watching?
Yeah, so for that great question, what can you do as a brother? My brother here is doing, Mikey is doing his due diligence of, and never be ashamed of who you are because you kanaka. And remember that you're never alone. Our kupuna, always with us. You just have to be receptive and open to them. And I'll just say, holomua, you know, just keep going and keep doing it. As long as you do everything that is coming from a place of pono, then you should be my kai. And that's even for me too. You know, because at the bottom, at the ending of the day, we still kanaka, we still man. You know, we have flaws. We make mistakes every day. But if you can learn something new each day, it's a great day. If you wake up with air in your lungs and your joints still lubricated, but your mind still sharp, mai kai. Yeah, aloha ki kai, everybody. And mai poina ku'u mo'i wahine liliwo kalane me nā kupuna. And stay brown, everybody. Stay brown. Love you guys. Aloha.
Mahalo. See you guys on the next one. Mahalo.
Mahalo.